Alright, so today's topic is federal system. So we had done the parliamentary system and question pattern to মই আপোনালোকক কৈছিলো that questionত আপোনালোকৰ সুধিলে খুব বেছি they'll ask you the features directly. So you should know these features by default. In details বহুত যাব নালাগে but basic meaning to গম পাই থব লাগে. For example, they'll give you a list of options. They'll just mention which of the following is a parliament feature of the parliamentary government of India. তেতিয়া আপোনালোকক dual system executive দিব, majority party rule দিব, and then suddenly they will add up this topic, this point, no dissolution of lower house, and fourth option, for example, leadership of prime minister. তেতিয়া আপোনালোকৰ যদি keyword কেইটা মনত থাকে, then only you will be able to solve this question, where you'll have to remember that our lower house too, it's not a permanent house. Dissolution হয় within 5 years, Lok Sabha elections যোনটো হয়. So no dissolution of lower house is a feature of the presidential system and not the parliamentary system. So likewise, আপোনালোকে questions বিলাক solve কৰিব. For that, I'll repeat, you'll have to get the keywords. You should get all the keywords so that keyword যদিও আপোনালোকৰ এই statement change কৰিলো, এই keyword কেইটা কেতিয়াও change নহয়. I'll repeat, the keywords will never change in case of parliamentary system. Okay, even in case of the federal system, the same trick applies. So now in case of federal system, what exactly is the word federal? Federal মানে হৈছে when the powers are separated. The word federal, federation, it basically means that it is actually opposite. In short, যদি মই first এটা word দিওঁ, this is the word unitary. It is actually opposite to unitary. In case of unitary, all the powers are given to the center. All the powers will reside, or they are in one particular, let's say center hog by union hog jeneke koy aru, the all the powers are concentrated at one place. But in case of federal, the powers are not concentrated. Okay, in case of federal, the powers are not concentrated. The powers are divided, or you can say segregated or distributed. All right, so these are the basic features of a federation or a federal system. The word federal, remember, it will always relate to distribution. Jote apnaloke enekwa eta synonym pae jot you will see distribution, division, okay, separation, all those terms will relate to federal. Etu hoise apna keyword. In case of federal system, tar synonym keta bahut important hoy, because in options you'll have to look for that. All right, now the first point that is presented on your slides, this is one of the most important points. Direct question ahe ar MCQ pra statement to banai dibo pare. Federation buli koa term to koto mention nai. Okay, by that I mean কোনো এটা article এটা separately dia jua nai jot niki you will find the definition of federation in the Indian constitution. For example, we have the definition of state, we have the definition of আমাৰ কিছুমান terms বেলেগ বেলেগকে যোনখিনি আছে সেইখিনি আছে, but then we don't have a definition for, or we don't have a particular article which will define what is federation. This is important. Similarly, we don't have a definition for basic structure, we don't have a definition for minority, we don't have a definition for untouchability. এইবিলাকৰ কোনো ধৰণৰ article নাই, but we do have a definition for state in article 12 and 35, right? So this we had done. Oh, sorry, 36, not 35. In article 12 and 36, 12 asile part 3, fundamental rights, and DPSP asile 30, like DPSP asile kunuba eta like in part 4, tate amar jun first article asile that refers to the definition of state. Unlike those statements, definition of federation is not involved in the, or not given in the Constitution of India. Okay, this is the first point. Direct question ahibo, like I said, MCQ point of view pra this is very very important. Please mark it, very very important. Second point is a union of states. This was given in article number 1, if you remember. That is why I had mentioned right in the very start of the, I'll go to the, okay, let me show you, sorry, let me show you the first slide. So I have come back to article number 1 just to show you the difference between the union of states, what India mean kore, keneke federation to ami bisari napao constitution not he bostu. Okay, now it is visible. So yeah, now listen to this carefully and look at the screen. I hope it is visible now. India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. This is the statement that you have to look into. Yate ketio ami federation will dekha napao. And the same thing I had mentioned in my first class also, when we were doing union and its territory. This is the point য'ত ফেডাৰেশ্যন আমি ডিফাৰেঞ্চ দেখা নাপাওঁ, আৰু ফেডাৰেশ্যন হয় কি তাৰ আমি টেকনিকেল কনচেপ্টটো, তাৰ আমি টেকনিকেল মিনিংটো উইল ডু ইট টুডে. চ' হোৱাট ইজ আ ফেডাৰেশ্যন বেচিকেলি? Like I said, India is comprised of states, right? যিমানখিনি আমাৰ states আছে গোটেইখিনি মিলি পেলাই ডিফাইন কৰে ইণ্ডিয়া. The thing is, between India and the states, there is no legal agreement. Okay? Suppose, for example, Assam is a part of India, the Indiaৰ লগত চেণ্টাৰৰ লগত ষ্টেটে কোনো এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট কৰা নাই যে আমি we are a part of you. Okay? You'll never hear this anywhere. What happens is we are by default a part of the country, and we do not form any legal agreement. Remember the term legal. There is no legal what do you call this, compulsion nai je India state je kiba ta legal compulsion eta nai with the center. First point. But in case of US, which is a true federation, which is actually a federation, USA কি হয় 50টা states আছে, আৰু সেই 50টা states ৰে ইউনিয়নৰ লগত এটা legal agreement আছে. You can remember the word agreement. Please remember these keywords, okay? কাৰণ এইবিলাকে statement আপোনালোকৰ federal systemত MCQ বনাই দিব, লিখি দিব that India is a union of states. Statement 2 is each state has a legal agreement with the center. The second statement will be absolutely wrong. But that will be true in case of US. America কি হয় 50টা states আছে, এই 50টা states ৰে legal agreement আছে. And none of the states can leave the association. United States of India বুলি কয়. Oh, sorry, United States of America বুলি কয়. So all those states, they have a legal agreement with the center, and they have no capacity. তেহেঁতৰ ওচৰত কোনো ধৰণৰ capacity নাই to leave the to walk out of the federation. Federationৰ পৰা cancel কৰিবলে বা ওলাবলে কোনো ধৰণৰ they don't have a capacity or eligibility. Okay, so please remember that. In case of India, now this is a special case. In case of India ki hoy? In case of India, we are also a union of states, but we do not have a legal agreement, and hence we are not truly federal. We are not truly federal. Remember that. We are not truly federal because we don't have a legal agreement. First thing. But does it mean that the states can walk out of it? No. That does not mean. Indian states বিলাক seed কৰা CED, এইটো বাৰু অলপ টেকনিকেল হয়, প্ৰিলিমছৰ কাৰণে তেনেকে নালাগে, join কৰা বা এৰাটোৰ permission নাই at the same time. That also the constitution does not permit. Okay, that also the constitution does not permit. So in totality, India is partially federal, which is called quasi-federal. Okay, 𝐏𝐶 কৈছিল সেইকাৰণে that India is, or Indian constitution is quasi-federal. I'll go back to this topic, federal. Now you understand we are a union of states. Okay, the next point is we are a union of states, and the states have no right to secede, মানে separate from the federation. Okay, this word although is not truly federal, আমি কি হয় quasi-federal, 𝐾C কৈছিলে. These are the key terms. I hope I'm clear here. Constitution or আমাৰ main feature to হৈছে we are quasi-federal, যোনটো 𝐾C কৈছিলে. This term is also not present in the constitution. Okay, this is not a formal term. It's just given by a juristic কৈছিলে, that's it. Federation term to mention asane constitution not? No. Very very carefully etu monot rakhibo. We are also, if we are not a federation, what are we? We are just a union of states. Etu keyword monot rakhibo. We are a union of states jot amar kono dhoroner legal commitment nai. The states have no legal commitment towards the center. We only are a union of states, verbally juntu kobo pari mane. Okay, and the third point is indestructible union of destructible units. Remember this. India union, okay, junkita jiman amar states ase. Okay, this is the sorry, I mean map to olop ugly hobo, but okay, this is the state, for example. Wait, I'll draw it clearly here. So yeah, so this is the union as a whole. Okay, this union you cannot destruct. Ekhon map apnaloke bhangibo nware. Ekhon map as a whole map bhangibo nware. Yate amar states or demarcation thakibo, everything whatever it is. No state has the power to do this. Okay, kaileke ahi pole eta state e kobo nware. That is why the Borah, Nagaland, এইবিলাকৰ ইমান মানে controversy চলি থাকে, because the constitution does not allow them to leave or secede the union. Okay, that is why it is called indestructible union. Remember, it's an indestructible union, a very specific, a very special case in the entire world. Enega constitution not photo likha nai. It is an indestructible union of what? Of destructible units. Wow, why? How? Because ফৰ এক্সাম্পল লাষ্ট আমি দেখিছোঁ যে উত্তৰ প্ৰদেশৰ পৰা ভাঙি পেলাই আমি উত্তৰাখণ্ড বনাই দিলোঁ, ঝাৰখণ্ড, বিহাৰ, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, right? So these states can be, however, changed. They can be destructible. Units mane states is equal to states. It's a beautiful statement with a very strong message underlying that India is basically a union. The states have no right to leave the federation. Okay, that is the essence of our quasi-federal system. And a statement to as this mot rakhibo indestructible unit of destructible units. Indestructible kyo because a map con, in short, in a very common layman's language, this particular union cannot be changed. This particular boundary, no state or no outer country, no other country has the right to destruct it or change it. Okay, ইয়াতে of course আমাৰ controversies আছে. For example, POK, LEC, LOC এইবিলাক লাইন সেইবিলাকত আমাৰ concerns বেলেগ, but in general constitution যেনে consider কৰে will follow that. So this particular map is an indestructible union and of what? Of destructible units. Why? Because the states inside the union, they can be changed, they can be altered, boundaries can be altered. And who has given this authority? Article 1, 2, 3. Tate amar likha ase formation of new states, formation of what do you call this, alteration of boundaries, name change, এইবিলাক সব আমাৰ article 2, article 3 and 1 ত আমাৰ union of states বুলি কোৱা, India Bharat is a union of states, এই বস্তুটো দিয়া আছে. That is why article number 1, 2, 3 are very important. I hope you'll remember. And I told you the shortcut. যেতিয়া আপোনালোকে এনেকুৱা এটা description পাব য'ত ইণ্ডিয়াৰ বিষয়ে definition বা ইণ্ডিয়াৰ কথা যদি কোৱা দেখে বা states কথা, states change কথা দেখে, সেই description বিলাক সদায় part 1 ত সোমাব. So that is the shortcut. That is why these tricks will now work. Now you can apply the tricks better because you have already done it before. And now you can apply it যে যদি আপোনালোকৰ question টা আহিও যায় union of states randomly দিও দিয়ে, then you should remember that states union এইবিলাক statement যদি আছে it is relating to Indian boundary, Indian territory, আৰু territory related যিমানখিনি question আছে, যিমানখিনি articles আছে, those are in part 1. So part 1 is like the first part of the constitution definitely by default. So tate article 1, 2, 3, 4 leke ase, চাৰিটা আছে. Fourth number article we don't generally consider, tate amar alteration parliament kotha likha thake. You can give it a read, but exam ot amar mostly 1, 2, 3 bikhoye likha thakibo, and most importantly 2 and 3 kotha likha thake. Okay, so this was the definition of federation. I took some time here because the concept itself forms many questions. So I hope language to jodio change kore, if you hold the concept tinta apnaloke dhori lobo key point. Term to ki hoy federation to agreement je nai আর আমার ইন্ডিয়ান স্টেট টু ফেডারেশন নহয়, ইটস এ ইউনিয়ন অফ স্টেটস য'ত নেকি ইনডিষ্ট্ৰাক্টিবল ইউনিয়ন হয় উইথ ডিষ্ট্ৰাক্টিবল ইউনিটস. ডু দ্য স্টেটস হ্যাভ দ্য রাইট টু secede or leave the federation? No. All this form of federation is basically known as a quasi-federal system. Okay, so this was the definition for federal system by federation. These are the features. Now I said quasi-federal. The term also means it is partially federal. Like I said, jodi union of states koi ase, definitely tete hole kisuman power center hatot ase. At the same time, if the state, okay, if the state has not made any agreement with the center, it definitely means that it has its own powers too. So federal mane ki asle, like I said, easily আপোনালোকে synonym কেটা ধৰিব, separation, division, okay, য'ত singularity নাই, সেইবিলাক কেছত আমি সদায় federal features বিলাক ধৰিম. This is the key. যেতিয়া আপোনালোকৰ question আহি যাব which of the following are federal features, তেতিয়া আপোনালোকে এনেকুৱা বস্তু চাব য'ত separation দেখে, য'ত division দেখে, য'ত there not be union বা strong power য'ত নাথাকিব, সেইকেইটা point আপোনাৰ সদায় federal systemৰ বিষয় হ'ব. And in that scenario, we also know that federal system what ki hoy, central eta government ase, amar state government ase. We all know that amar parliament ekhon ase, state legislature ekhon ase. So this kind of government, this kind of features, they are all federal features. But at the same time, we'll study it in the next slide. Kisuman enekwa features o ase jot center has been given all the power. Okay, where center holds all the maximum power ba maximum decision making korbo pare. So in that scenario, we will consider that the Indian union or Indian state is a unitary system of মানে ধৰি লওক হেৰি governance হয়. So Indiat, like I said, quasi-federal হয়, so definitely both federal and both unitary features বিলাক থাকিব. Okay, and all of this, like I said, কিছুমান ইয়াত underlying story আছে, background আছে, but since it is a rapid course, so I'm not going in depth into that. I'm directly jumping to facts which are going to be framed as MCQs in the exam. যোনখিনি আমাৰ অপচনেল আহিব পাৰে ষ্টেটমেণ্ট আহিব পাৰে আমি সেইখিনি কামেই কৰিছোঁ বাকী যদি আপোনালোকৰ কিবা থাকে ইউ কেন গিভ ইট এ জেনেৰেল ৰিড জাষ্ট ফৰ ইয়ৰ মাইল্ড আণ্ডাৰষ্টেণ্ডিং do not dwell much into the topics because it will these are very interesting topics আৰু আপোনালোকৰ capture কৰি পেলাই it will take at least 2-3 hours but I'll prefer that you should not spend more than half an hour to 15 minutes in these topics for revision. Okay, anyway, so the federal features, yes, let's come back to it. The first feature is the dual government. See, separation of power again. Dual government, centered at us, state as by default federal feature. Okay, written constitution is considered a federal feature. Why? Because it's like I said, jetio amar federation ot hoday agreement or kotha hai. Federation ot hoday agreement or kotha hai, written kotha hai. So like that, you can consider that when it's a written constitution, it's kind of a federal feature. Jot niki eta federation or karne jeneke ami eta written agreement thake tate. So likewise, but yaar direct amar teneke heri to let's say concept to amar keteo exam ot nuhude. All you have to remember is that written constitution is a federal feature. Division of powers, very very important. National and regional government. By regional, it means the states of the country. Here, a division of powers. How is it displayed? Union list, state list, and concurrent list. And there are also some residuary powers. There are some topics, there are some subjects jo okol unionist hi banabo pare, decision law pare, laws banabo pare. Okay, there are some subjects jo okol state e banabo pare. For example, agriculture, forest, these are state subjects. Irrigation, these are state subjects. Apnaloke dekhibo irrigation and everything amar departments bila thake state ot, right? And then we have concurrent, which means there will be some topics jo both state and the union can make laws. Education, right? So this division of powers is again a federal feature. Gutekhini power unionot diat koe, gutekhini law making process, legislative process unionot concentrate korake ba union ba center of diat koe, the powers were divided between the union and state. Also, the constitution makers also made it a very genius decision where they decided some points, some topics should be kept in both the purview. Union e banao parake or state e banao parake. Tene hole ki hoy that effective mechanism and most decision making ba bold decision making বা ধৰি লওক আপোনাৰ যোনটো জাজমেন্ট কৰোতে বলতে নে কি মাল্টিপল মাইন্ডস দে মেক দি থিংস বেটাৰ সো লাইকৱাইজ এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান টপিক য'ত বেছি ইনপুট লাগিল হয় কামটো ইজি কৰিবলৈ বা ফাংশনিং ইজি কৰিবলৈ there we use the concurrent those fall under the concurrent list. Okay, union list, state list, concurrent list. Yeah, because we'll do one topic again. There's a topic on schedules of the constitution that we'll do. Okay, then we'll cover it more extensively, all the subjects, but for now this much. Then is the supremacy of the constitution. Okay, ebla apnaloke keyword hisabe rakhilo, supremacy of the constitution, where the constitution will consider has given the powers to both the center and the state. Likewise, so jote division ahibo, jote conceptually if you see that there is no power that is held in the hands of one authority only, that will be considered federal. Unlike unitary, that will be considered powers are concentrated in one hand. Okay, rigid constitution. I hope you remember this amendment. In case of amendment, how is amendment, rigid constitution of the amendment a federal feature? Tate apnaloke eta state eta amendment ase. If you remember, the constitution when it is amended under article 368, right? Tate jetia এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিবা আমি টপিক বা সাবজেক্টত amendment কৰিব লগা হল যত আমাৰ states or if the states are involved or the state subjects will be involved, then 50% of the states have to ratify. If you remember the words, keywords, if like keywords, right? If you remember this, I hope you remember this. So when such a scenario arises, at that point of time, or he point of time what ki hoy, the states have to ratify. Until unless the states do not ratify it, the constitutional amendment will not be valid. So this was a part of the rigid constitution. It was made tough. Special majority kori disile, if you remember, right? And a part of the constitution is also flexible. Just simple majority ti ami koribo paru, right? So this part of the constitution, which is rigid, hands over the power to the states. See, jote union states division ho jabo, federal feature. I hope this is very clear. Independent judiciary. Again, independent judiciary kwa loge loge, it's a federal feature. Why? Because the judiciary is given extra powers in addition to the executive and legislature. Right? So division of powers. Bicameral legislature. Duta bhag. Bicameral. Duta. Upper house, lower house. So that is also a federal feature. So you see, this is not very tough to remember until unless you remember the concept. যদি আপোনালোকে মনত ৰাখে ফেডাৰেল ফিচাৰত ফেডাৰেল যদি বস্তুটো আপোনালোকে মনত ৰাখে that yes, those particular features which will show the division of power or separation of powers, then that will be considered federal. Jodi he concept apnaloke rakhi thoi diye, then it will be easier for you to remember. Right, I hope I'm clear till here. All of our complications thake because they might change the statement, but apnaloke jodi common sense and presence of mind to use karo, you'll be able to clear this out. These are the unitary features. See, again, the same thing. Strong center. Whenever there is a strong center, that will be a unitary feature. Why? Because a single authority is going to take care of all the other things. In case of emergency, for example, for example, in case of emergency, the center becomes all strong. So that's not a federal feature. That's a unitary feature. Okay. Again, we have states are not indestructible. Not indestructible mane single union koi rakhibo lagibo. Okay. So that's again not in the hands of the states, right? So this will again be done by a parliamentary legislation only. So things like that are also unitary. Single constitution, etai constitution thakibo. Amar states or karne belek constitution nethake. Remember, for example, Nagaland wanted its own constitution, but will the Indian constitution allow it? No. Okay, it will not allow it because we have a concept of single constitution, which is a unitary feature. Okay, flexibility of the constitution আমি অলপ আগতে পঢ়িলো. Rigidity to jot amar অকল ইউনিয়নে যদি কিবা ডিসিজন লয় ষ্টেটছৰ লগত তেতিয়া ষ্টেটছৰ ৰাটিফিকেশ্যন লাগিব. Unlike that, there are some amendments য'ত নেকি the parliament alone can also act. So that is the flexibility, right, with a simple majority. No equality of state representation. In case of USA কি হয় 50টা states আছে for example, চবৰে দুটা representative লোৱা হয়. So that's a federal feature. But আমাৰ তেনেকুৱা নহয়. আমাৰ কোনোবা এখন ষ্টেটৰ পৰা কি হয় on the basis of population. যোনকেইখন ষ্টেট ডাঙৰ হয় তাৰ লোকসভা সিটস বেছি থাকিব. যোনকেইটা ষ্টেট representation মানে বেসিক্যালি লোকসভা ৰাজ্যসভা প্ৰেজেন্টেশন. For example, আমাৰ 7টা আছে ৰাজ্যসভা 12টা আছে লোকসভা প্ৰেজেন্টেশন. So that equality is not there. Okay, কোনোবা এটা ষ্টেটত আপোনাৰ ইউপিত আপোনাৰ সবতকে বেছি population, so তাত সবতকে বেছি representation. Okay, emergency provisions which we will do, you will see that in case of emergency the state loses its powers and the center becomes all strong. We have single citizenship, again a unitary feature. Ami enekwa noko, once we suppose reach Singapore, someone goes to the US, apnaloke nijor identity keneke dibo, I am an Indian. Okay, we don't tell them first that I am an Assamese, I am a Bihari, I am a Rajasthani. No, so that is single citizenship. Okay, your identity is the country as a whole, Indian as an Indian as a whole. Integrated judiciary. Now this is important. Independent and integrated. A to bohote confusion kori di. Okay, I'll erase this. Yeah, independent and integrated. This is a salient feature of the constitution. Independent and integrated. See, independent hoise that the judiciary takes its decisions independent of the executive and legislative. Tar mane, suppose there is a law, okay, and it is nullifying ba jeneke ami porislu, it invalidates the fundamental rights. Okay, what is the solution to that? Jodi amar fundamental rights violate hoise ami kar sor jam, we go to the Supreme Court. Via what? Via issuing writs. Okay, we could go to the Supreme Court because it is independent. How would you place this? Because jetia ami Supreme Court osor jam tetia Supreme Court etu koi nidiye ketiao je law to heriye bonaisile, so etu decision to legislature ba parliament logo. Do they say that? No. So independent reaction, independent action eta ase, aru kisman features ase. There are salaries, emoluments, there are many things are there which we will do in judiciary. So those are independent, and that is why we have an judiciary system independent of what? The executive and the legislature. Executive bele ki hoy, legislature ki hoy, again we will do it in the parliament section. These are very small concepts, but for now remember, we'll come back to it. Olop ke concept bonai jao. So the first thing is we have an independent judiciary, and that, like I said, independent judiciary mane ki judiciary nijor power kam korise. So now there is a separation of power, division of power hoy gol. Kar majot? Executive, judiciary and legislative. So that is why we call it a federal feature. Integrated, as the word says. See, like I said, jito apnaloke singular type of kiba heri dekhibo. term দেখিব go for unitary integrated কি হয় the uh, district courts হল the high court till the supreme court okay the entire judiciary follows the same kind of law making process এনেকুৱা নহয় যে সুপ্ৰিম কোৰ্টে বেলেগ এখন কনষ্টিটিউচন বা বেলেগ এখন ল কিতাপ পঢ়ি পেলাই ডিসিশন দিছে হাই কোৰ্টে বেলেগ এটা নো from the district level to the supreme court GA magistrate নহওক কিয় GA judge নহওক কিয় they will give any kind of decision or the final call on the basis of the same law making process the law making process will be same at the state level and the union sorry not the law making what you call this the law interpretation okay that will all be same from the district till the supreme court GA decision nolokyo they will all be the same okay hopefully this is understood there is in all India services okay junta ata bahut dangor amar controversy hoy in terms of federation what happens amar jetia UPSC hoy UPSC er junkhini amar candidates suppose this year 100 candidates got through district commissioner suppose IS pale kejon mane he IS kejonok training dia center কিন্তু রিক্রুটমেন্টও আমার স্টেট গভর্নমেন্ট আন্ডার হয় ওকে প্লিজ টেক আ নোট ইনটু দিস অল ইন্ডিয়া সার্ভিসেছত কি হয় আমাৰ যিমানখিনি ৰিক্ৰুটমেন্ট হয় যিমানখিনি আমাৰ এক্সাম পাতে UPSC পাতিছে okay but all those services ultimately they come under the state machinery for example the district commissioner is the head of the state now their salary might be coming from the center but যোনখিনি যিমানখিনি process হওক যি হওক that falls under the administrative যোনটো relation আছে that comes under the state's purview বহুত technicalities ত নাযাব just remember that all India services although it's a এটো আমাৰ বহুতে এটা ডাঙৰ controversy হয় যে যিহেতু they are all serving in the states so that or it should have been charged from the center there's a slight controversy we'll not go into that okay we'll not go into that but just remember all India services is a unitary feature in all India boli koar loge loge it will hit you united bhora bole okay integrated audit machinery right audit machinery to amar integrated hoy audit mane jeti amar suppose accounts audit junto hoy normal audit hetu amar integrated hoy from the center it will come parliament's authority over state list okay here Rajya Sabha can give a resolution it was a unique point hoy which we'll do in the next slide amar keneke ei bostu hoy 249 buli ko article eta thake so Rajya Sabha jodi eta resolution pass kori die tetia remember Rajya Sabha okay not Lok Sabha please remember this is a key point parliamentary authority ase but that resolution has to be passed by the Rajya Sabha if it passes a resolution tetia he state listot parliament e law banabo para hoy jay but for a very limited amount of time this is not permanent for only a limited amount of time okay appointment of governor we know that it is appointed he or she, the governor he or she is appointed by the president integrated election machinery we have election juntu hoy Lok Sabha that is also integrated state or hetut amar extra ke na jay veto over state bills again the president has some veto over state bills jodi president e bisare kisuman state bills reserve koribo pare je yat mo decision later on lo ba etia lo okay so these are some unitary features again you'll have to remember the keywords please remember you have to remember the keywords okay all these keywords if you hold up ekhini keyword hoy ekhini ketao change nokore they will always keep the keyword statement to lagile GA change nokor kyo but kobat apnaloke ei gita words dekhiboy jenike strong center to theri beleg koi nidie as it is they will use in the MCQ so you have to just remember yare again trick to hoise unitary hobole you have to check please check that the center is getting stronger or not if the powers are divided they will be federal features dual duta koiria loge single nohoy wherever there'll be a single um like single constitution single word a single hey to analogue it will become a unitary feature I hope you are getting this point it's a very simple common mane like common sense ke sath milai pla apnaloke hetu koile concept to buji pabo but don't revise it like statements or huge heri ke taneke eta revise no koribo it will not help so there was a doubt if legislative and executive are dependent on judiciary or they are too independent no these are all separate okay but there are some checks and balances for example if the executive makes a law which is not falling in line with the constitution মানে constitution kiba suppose oppose kori dile tetia kintu judiciary mat matibo laibo so that way they are somehow interconnected but functioning they are independent hoy okay so this is another mains ka topic hoy to jot we see separation power and checks and balances যে কাম তেৰি সেপাৰেটলি কৰিব কিন্তু এনেকুৱাও নহয় যে they can be arbitrary একদম জি মন যায় তাকে কৈ থাকিব নোৱাৰে there are checks and balances. There are points where Supreme Court legislative and executive or functioning or inhibit koribo nware. There are some points, but ketia ketia koribo pare, those points are also there. That is in checks and balances, also added in the constitution itself. Okay, so actually this is a mains point of view topic. The question is good. Like, wait, what was the question? If legislature and executive are dependent on the, sorry, what was the question? Yeah, if they are dependent on judiciary or they too are independent. No, nobody is dependent on anything. They are all independent, but there are some checks and balances jate autocracy no ho. And the concept mains or concept hoy prelims or teneke hudi nidiye. Okay, so we'll discuss it later. For now, is it okay if I answer this much? If you want a detailed explanation, then I can also go beyond that in a separate lecture. বা আপনার আপনি ফোন করে দিব বিজিত শর্মা, এটা বুঝি পাইছে যিমানখিনি কলো অলপ ক্লিয়ার হল আছে নে নাই বা গল নেকি? Anyway, let me know in the chat section if it is okay, or if you have any doubt, then you can call me up and let me know. Okay. মানে এইটো prelims or purview পৰা অলপ বেলেগ হয় point to, so I'll not delve into that. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. So ইয়াৰ লৈকে I hope you have no doubts. অলপমান extensive হয় যিহেতু অলপমান মনত ৰাখিবলৈ বস্তুবিলাক বেছি, but like I said, if you get the trick, then you'll be able to follow. Use English as a trick here. Federal system, what your basic English will help you. Okay. All right, so the next topic is center-state relations and interstate relations. A very it's a low priority topic for APSC prelims or teneki ar nahe, mostly to mains related topic hoy, and it's a very lengthy topic. But like I said, kisuman topic মানে কিছুমান পইণ্টছ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট থাকিলে মই কৈ দিম, এণ্ড দোজ আৰ অল লিষ্টেড অন দি স্ক্ৰীনছ. অ'কে, চ' এইখিনি বস্তু আপোনালোকে কৰিলে আই থিংক মোৰ দেন এনাফ ফৰ প্ৰিলিমছ. ইয়াতকৈ বেছি প্ৰিলিমছত কুৱেশ্যন আহিব নালাগে. ফৰ এক্সাম্পল, চেণ্ট্ৰেল ষ্টেটছ ৰিলেশ্যনৰ ৰিলেটেড কিছুমান কমিশ্যন থাকে. মই একদম ফাৰ্ষ্ট ক্লাছতো কৈছিলোঁ যে কিছুমান আপোনালোকে কমিশ্যনছৰ কথা কেতিয়াও মিছ নকৰিব. ইউ নিড টু ষ্টাডি আ লট এবাউট কমিশ্যনছ. ৰোহিণী কমিশ্যন হওক, কিবা মণ্ডল কমিশ্যন হওক, যিকোনো আফটাৰ ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেঞ্চ, প্ৰি ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেঞ্চৰ লিষ্টিংখিনি মই দিয়া হৈছিল অলৰেডি. All those kindly keep a note of it, kindly revise. For example, লী কমিশ্যন কিহৰ, মেকলে কমিটি কিহৰ, কমিটি হ'ব পাৰে, কমিশ্যনো হ'ব পাৰে. Then we have Islington, Hunters Committee, Education related committee kunkhini, Labor related company committee kunkhini asile pre-independence question eta bortoman. Then we have committees on civil services. So hekhini apnaloke please only the committee and the function ba subject hetu monot rakhile hobo. You don't need to study about who was the president, kune hetu committee form korisile, heblak eku nalage. Just what the committee is about, that's it. That too the single keyword, like education hoy, law hoy, civil services hoy, 18 the main hoy. There might be some committees on other topics also, but hekhini iman concern hoy. Still I have added up in the PDF I previously provide korisilu, you can check that. Post independence also there were some committees and commissions, hekhini apnaloke monot rakhibo. Kisuman commission, for example finance commission, is something which is a constitutional commission. Hekhini বহুত important হৈ যায়. We'll cover this now. So like I said, commissions bilak monot rakhibo. For example, ARC, Sarkariya, Panchi, these are related to center-state relations. Just take keyword khini. Center-state relations mane state or union. Okay, state and unionৰ মাজত কিছুমান ৰিলেশ্যনছ থাকিব. ফৰ এক্সাম্পল, লাইক আই ছেড, যেনেকৈ আমি এটা ক'লো যে কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন যদি চেঞ্জ কৰিব লগা হয় তেতিয়াহ'লে you'll have to ask if it is concerning the state, তেতিয়া 50% state ratification লাগিব. So these are দুটা ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেণ্টলি চলি নাথাকে. এনেকুৱা নহয় যে চেণ্টাৰে কিবা এটা মনমানি কৰি আছে, ষ্টেটে মনমানি কৰি আছে, আমাৰ ইণ্ডিয়ান গভৰ্ণমেণ্টখন তেনেকৈ নচলে. There are some directives that the center will always give the state. কিছুমান directives মানে it's not like an order, but like a মানে আদেশ দিয়া নিচিনা বুলি ক'ব পাৰে আৰু not আদেশ বুলি ক'লে অৰ্ডাৰ নিচিনাই হ'ব. These are some directives আৰু directives as in like there'll be some let's say scheme হওক বা কিবা হওক, কেনেকৈ ফলো কৰিব লাগে, কি কৰিব লাগে, সদায় ষ্টেটক এটা ফলো আপ দিয়া হয়. So those relations are always there, and these relations can always be defined in three terms: legislative, administrative and financial. Examৰ কাৰণে for prelims all you have to do is just remember কোনটো article হয়, কোনটো পাৰ্টত আছে. 11 and 12. Okay, 11 and 12 ৰ পাৰ্ট হয়, কিন্তু মেইনছত এইখিনি অলপ এক্সটেন্সিভলি পঢ়িব লাগে. But for prelims point of view, abhi it is not required. So Lakshmikant, it's a very long chapter. You can ignore it for now. But there are some articles and some like mild topics or mild points that you should remember. Junkhini prelims are directly ahi jay. The first point is this one only. The center-state relations. কিছুমান কমিশনে ideal they had shown that এইখিনি point হলে center state relations will get better. By getting better, it means in terms of legislative, administrative and financial relations. For example, legislative relations ত কেনেকুৱা হ'ব পাৰে যে laws যোনখিনি center follow কৰে সেইখিনি state follow কৰিব লাগিব তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান কথা আছে territorial extent কথা আছে যে state laws খিনি অকল state তে follow হ'ব but ইউনিয়নৰ যদি laws খিনি থাকে that will follow the territory of India and the states also কিন্তু আপোনালোকেও জানে যদি অসমত যদি কিবা এটা law follow হৈছে not necessary that it will be followed in Bihar also বা Rajasthan বা Tamil Nadu Andhra Pradesh Gujarat সেইকেইটা follow নহয় okay যোনখিনি আমাৰ suppose agriculture related কিবা যদি আমি changes কৰিছো law আনিছো কিবা then it will be followed in Assam only so those are some of the constraints there so territorial extent হ'ব পাৰে then this one 249 article যোনটো মই এতিয়া অলপ আগত কৈছিলো যে state matter যদি হয় suppose Rajya Sabha wants to make an sorry the parliament wants to make a law on agriculture but hetu state subject hoy hetu karone Rajya Sabha has to pass a resolution first okay and if the resolution gets passed only then can the parliament make a amendment or make an article or make a not article basically laws on the state subject okay so that was article 249 junto ami all about poisilo it's a unitary feature why because the parliament is taking things into its hand all right so এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান legislative relations আছে which again elaborately mains or hudhe prelims ত তেনেকে they'll just ask you keywords নুসুধিব পাৰে in fact যোনকেইটা keyword দিয়া আছে মই already কৈ ইয়াতে on the screen আছে আপোনালোকৰ pdf খন মই share কৰি দিম importantly next is that administrative relations to there are similarly jeneke union state and concurrent list ase kisuman topic or okol administrative decisions bilak okol state or hatot ase kisumanot okol union and in some topics both the administration and the state can make it okay then there are financial relations for example devolution of funds mane state or kiman percent dia hobo eta jeneke amar নাবাৰ্ডে যেতিয়া হেৰি দিয়ে ফান্ডিং দিয়ে তেতিয়া কি হয় 95% is given by the center 5% is given to the state তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ ফাইনেন্সিয়েল ৰিলেশনছ বিলাক বা ধৰি লওক এনেকুৱা হয় ফাইনেন্সিয়েল ৰিলেশনছত ট্যাক্স দিব পৰাকে কোনকিটা ট্যাক্স আপোনাৰ ষ্টেটে কালেক্ট কৰিব পাৰিব কোনকিটা ট্যাক্স আপোনাৰ in case of union কালেক্ট কৰিব পাৰিব okay then we have কোনকিটা ট্যাক্স আপোনাৰ ষ্টেটে কালেক্ট কৰিব পাৰে but like it will be levied or put forward by the union so these are different terms যোনখিনি extensively কেতিয়াও নাহে যোনখিনি extensively কেতিয়াও prelims ত নুসুধে but for mains point of view please remember this topic has to be done extensively it's a very important topic আপোনাৰ deep understanding of the constitution or karne as civil servants this is very important because we should know in and out je amar kunkhini jodi apni state or kaam kori ase tetia and specifically if you will be a part of the administration once you clear APSC so administrative relations kini you should be very clear about okay so that is why this chapter is very important from mains point of view prelims or that questions bahut kom ahe but junkhini ase those are on the screen for example these articles union state concurrent list eto ami korim jetia ami schedule kini pohim elaborately but I think basic idea to gom paise kisuman subject union under ase kisuman state and concurrent and it's a list hey list not just a subject matter kini ase 1 2 3 4 ke teneke subject kini likha ase okay next is article number 249 which we have already done that the power of the parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list okay in the national interest now this term is important because when you will be given the statement that eneke likhi dibo that power article 249 says there is a power of the parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list in any topic at any time will kodibo but no only when there is a national interest only when that particular law is applicable to all the states right state list to kyo beleke dia thake janane because for example agriculture to kyo state list hoy because all over the country we know that গেহু যদি হয় wheat যদি হয় rice যদি হয় wheat পাঞ্জাবৰ ফালে ভাল হয় rice তামিলনাডু কলকাতা আসাম নর্থ ইস্ট রাইস বেল্ট হেতুত ভাল হয় সো হে রাইসৰ কাৰণে বাট দ্য ৰিজনস আৰ ডিফাৰেন্ট তামিলনাডুৰ যি কাৰণে ৰাইসটো ভাল হয় যোনটো সময়ত ভাল হ'ব আৰু যোনটো ব্ৰিড ভাল হ'ব that will not be the same as kolkata or in case of assam right so what happens is the country or the union cannot formulate the same kind of law for the entire for the entire region, for the entire jimankhini amar geographical regions ase he geographical differences karone one law will not be applicable. Okay, law mane dhulok dam tu hok ba jikun dhonor fertilizer mane bhubidhai hok. Okay, so all those things it might not be possible, কিন্তু sometimes it may be. এতিয়া ধৰি লওক কিষাণ ক্ৰেডিট দি দিলে, so there might be possible যে এনেকুৱা কিছুমান টপ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰ ৰিলেটেডো কিছুমান এনেকুৱা you'll say মানে অপৰচুনিটি হ'ব পাৰে বা এনেকুৱা এটা ল হ'ব পাৰে which can be applicable pan India. তেতিয়াতো আমি ষ্টেটৰ পৰা পাৰ্মিশ্যন লৈ পেলাই বা ষ্টেটকটো কৈ এটা ষ্টেটক আমি কৈ থাকিব নোৱাৰিম. that point of টাইমত কি হয় পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্ট টেক্স দ্য ডিচিজন that let us do it pan India. আৰু সেইটো কাৰণে সেই ষ্টেট লিষ্টটো খালি সেই এমেণ্ডমেণ্ট এটা বা লেজিছলেশ্যন এটা লাইক হেৰি কৰিব লাগিব, পাৱাৰটো যোনটো হয় ট্ৰান্সফাৰ কৰিব লাগিব, আৰু সেই ৰেজলিউশ্যনটো পাছ কৰে নান আদাৰ দেন দি ৰাজ্যসভা. অ'কে, চ' দ্য ৰাজ্যসভাই যদি সেই ৰেজলিউশ্যনটো পাছ কৰি দিয়ে যে য়েছ নাও ইন দিছ ষ্টেট লিষ্ট the parliament can make a law or parliament can make a rule by legislation, anything, any legislation. Okay, but that has to be in national interest, which means it should be a arbitrarily state or machinery বা state or working যাতে harm নোহোৱাকৈ যদি হয় then only that resolution will be passed. Okay, 263 280 very very important two articles. Center state relation or 263 it falls into administrative relations. See 263 256 to 263 etu monot rakhibo kuntu partot ase kuntu relation hoy. Interstate council hoy which will try to solve what do you call this conflicts hok. Okay, interstate or major relations like better koibole this council was formed. Very very important council, and here elaborately we there is I've added one particular slide. Please go through this. Eku extra conceptual eku nohoy, basically kune ketia interstate council kon present hoisile aru kun tar members hoy, specifically the chairman, ebla question direct ahe. These questions are asked directly as MCQ options. Please make sure that you know this. Okay, apart from this a two particular chapter pa taneke bishek prelims ot eku nahe. And then we have 281 and 280. 280 is the finance commission. Everyone knows about the finance commission. Jodi definitely jehetu apnaloke already preparation kori ase, so I'm pretty sure you have heard of this. Finance commission is a constitutional body. Article number 280 monot rakhibo, it's a constitutional body. Article number 280 in the part 12, of course, financial relations, finance koar loge loge financial relation ahibo. So what does it decide? Je funds bila keneke divide hobo between the center and the state. Now remember, these are recommendations. The finance commission does not formulate laws akode, etu monot rakhibo. Etu bahut confusing hoy, bahute bhabe jehetu etu commission constitutional hoy, so as a result the recommendations will be forcefully implemented. But no, these are recommendations which may or may not be followed by the parliament and the president. Please remember this. Okay, but still it's a constitutional body, so respectful body hobo. So recommendations bilak enekwa nohoy je follow jodi nokore tete definitely sage reject kori diye, tenekwa nohoy. Okay, the basis is there, the grounds are there, but eta option dia ase je these are recommendations which are the president or the parliament is not bound to follow them, but they do follow. এনেকুৱা নহয় যে follow কৰা নাযায়. Okay, so the finance commission, where is it? Yeah, the finance commission article number কোনটো হয় হেতু হুদা যায়. Okay, and a point to hude that the recommendations made by are they bound to not bound to he point to huda যায়, he point to apnalo check koribo. And 281 itself talks about the recommendations of the finance commission. Okay, article 312 এটা extra topic asile, but all India services jehetu ami center state relation kotha koisilu, all India services ami Rajya Sabha resolution e dihe koribo paru de, etu question directly ahe. Constitution authorizes which of the houses to create all India services. মানে যদি আমি নতুন এটা সার্ভিস ক্রিয়েট করব বিচাৰো, যেনেকে আমাৰ অলরেডি ইউপিএসসি আছে সাপোজ, বাট ওটা নতুন এনেকুৱা অল ইন্ডিয়া সেন্ট্রাল সার্ভিস যদি থাকে তেতিয়া কোনে হেতু কৰিব পাৰে? It's only by a resolution by the Rajya Sabha, not the Lok Sabha. Many people get confused here, ভাবে যে যেহেতু লোক সভায় বেছি পাওয়ারফুল বডি হয়, so definitely সাগে most probably এটু লোক সভায় কৰিব পাৰিব, but নহয়. Resolution to make a matter or to legislate a matter with respect to state list, article 249, and a resolution to create new all India services, both of these are under the Rajya Sabha's purview, not rahibo. আৰু তাৰ বাহিৰে তেনেকে Rajya Sabhar question power hisabot question teneke nuhudhe, baki mains point of view pra hude, but prelims on eruta main point hoy that either who has the power to legislate or who has the power to pass a resolution to legislate a matter with respect to state list, but who has a power to authorize the parliament to create a new all India service, that will be Rajya Sabha. Okay, I hope I'm clear till here. So very brief, you should know the gist of this chapter. তেনেকে বহুত important নাহে. These are some interstate water dispute মানে tribunals যোনখিনি আমাৰ setup হৈ আছে, সেইখিনি আপোনালোকে অলপ চাব পাৰে কোনটো মানে ৰিভাৰত, বেচিকলি এইবিলাক ৰিভাৰ্ছ হয়, কৃষ্ণা, গোদাবৰী, নৰ্মদা, কোনখন মানে নদীত কোনটো ষ্টেটছ ইনভলভ হৈ আছে, অ'কে, ট্ৰিবিউনেল কেইটা কি হয় সেইকেইটা অলপ চালে হ'ল, এনেও জিঅ'গ্ৰাফি পঢ়ি থাকিলে এইখিনি মনত থাকি যায়। এণ্ড দিজ আৰ চাম জেনেৰেল ৰিডিং, নৰ্থ ইষ্ট কাউন্সিল এণ্ড জ'নেল কাউন্সিলৰ বিষয়ে জেনেৰেল ৰিডিং এটা দিব ওপৰ পৰছে, তেনেকে বহুত এক্সটেনচিভ MCQs নাহে, বাট ইউ শুড ন', ফৰ এক্সাম্পল মেম্বাৰ্ছ কোন হয়, কোন চেয়াৰমেন হয়, NEC কোনে হেড কৰে, সেই বস্তুখিনি জাষ্ট লাইক দেট, চিমিলাৰ টু দি ইণ্টাৰষ্টেট কাউন্সিল, যেনেকে আমি এতিয়া ইণ্টাৰষ্টেট কাউন্সিলত আমি কৰিম, সেই বস্তুটো চিমিলাৰলি দ্য জ'নেলছ এণ্ড দি NEC, নৰ্থ ইষ্ট কাউন্সিল ইজ ভেৰি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট, এগেইন ফ্ৰম মেইনছ পইণ্ট অফ ভিউ বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হয়, চ' সেইখিনি আপোনালোকে যাতে কভাৰ কৰে। অ'কে, চ' এতিয়া আহিছোঁ আমি কুইকলি টু দি ইণ্টাৰষ্টেট কাউন্সিল। Now, interstate council is কোনটো আৰ্টিকেলৰ হয়, আৰ্টিকেল 263, সেইটো মনত ৰাখিব। অৰিজিনেলি একচুৱেলি ARC আছিলে, এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেটিভ ৰিফৰ্ম কমিশ্যন, যোনটো এইখিনি আমি আৰু এটা বডি পঢ়িছিলোঁ ইয়াতে। Here in this Administrative Reforms Commission 1966, বহুতে এটা confusion rakhe that they think that Sarkari Commission itself created the or it was the brainchild, mane bhabe je Sarkari Commission ote actually Interstate Council to it was started there, but no, actually Interstate Council concept to ARC pa arambho hoisile, jetia first Center State Relation Commission bohisile, Administrative Reforms Commission 1966 or tetiai first Interstate Councilor recommendation আহি গৈছিলে, বাট ফলো কৰা নহৈছিলে। আফটাৰ চৰকাৰীয়া কমিশ্যন ইয়াৰ 1983 যেতিয়া ৰেকমেণ্ডেশ্যন খিনি দিয়া হ'ল, that was one of the strongest bodies in interstate council, আজিলৈকে যিমানখিনি কমিশ্যন হৈছিলে আমি সবতকে বেছি চৰকাৰী কমিশ্যন ৰেকমেণ্ডেশ্যন খিনি we try to follow. So this particular commission also proposed the establishment of interstate council, then it was formed. But এনেকুৱা নহয় যে this was the first body, but then যিহেতু চৰকাৰী কমিশ্যনৰ পিছতে বস্তুটো ফৰ্ম হৈছিলে, that is why we say that it was formed under them, because যেতিয়া article 263 add হৈছিলে interstate council, তেতিয়া তাত লিখা যায় যে it is formed by the recommendations of the চৰকাৰী commission. Okay, so এইটো কেতিয়াবা confusion কৰিবলে হয়তো two types of two format of question বিলাক হয়। প্ৰথম they might ask you that চৰকাৰী commission to first mention ক'ত হৈছিলে, but that is ARC. But the Sarkari Commission Article 263 under Interstate Council to first mention ক'ত হৈছিলে, that was in ARC, but permanently যেতিয়া form হৈছিলে, that consideration is via the Sarkari Commission. I hope I'm clear here. Okay, again it's a recommendatory body, right? Chairman is Prime Minister. Please remember chairman বহুতে president বুলি consider কৰি দিয়ে, but no, যেহেতু ভাবে যে constitution body হয় তো definitely president হ'ব, but actually the chairman of the ISC is the Prime Minister. Please remember. আৰু বাকি এইখিনি members আপোনালোকে চাই ল'ব পাৰে, Chief Minister আছে, Chief Minister of Union Territories আছে, so basically সব Chief Ministers আছে, CMs আছে, Prime Minister আছে, লগতে CMO আছে, administrators আছে, কিছুমান Union Territories we know that য'ত legislative assemblies নাথাকে তাত CM নাথাকে, Pondicherry বা Puducherry for example, okay, Delhi for example, these Union Territories they don't, Delhi গৈছো, Puducherry যেনেকে for example, it has only a lieutenant colonel কোনবা আমি পাহৰিছো, lieutenant এজন থাকে basically, okay, so I'm forgetting, yeah, the main term I'm forgetting, so like that governors থাকিব, okay. Then we have 6 cabinet ministers. So all of these jodi state konuba ta state or jodi president's rule ase, again we'll do this in emergency, president's rule jodi soli ase tetia tar CM or thait governor bilak thake, and the reason I'll tell you, reason will be given in the emergency chapter. So that is why MCQ solve korile ki hoy eta point or pa etu points of connected thake, so make sure that you first finish the course and then only move on to the MCQs. Anyway, so this was the slide, and there I've already added all the key points. You can give it a read. I think buji pai jabo teneke bahut extensively conceptually eku nai, conceptually jonkini component asile we have already discussed. This was all for the two topics, federal system asile juntu, then center state relations, sorry, center-state relations, and then we have interstate relations, and finally we have the emergency provisions যোনটো আমি কৰিম এতিয়া অলপমান আগবঢ়াই থম hang on দেখা পাইছে নে yes okay all right so let us move on to এইটো টপিক আমি আকৌ কাইলৈও কৰিম emergency টো but আজি মই অলপমান introduction এটা দি থৈ দিও in the next 10 minutes after that you guys can go for revision today's slides. Now let us move on to the one of the most top priority topics, which is emergency. Topic to 𝐑𝐞𝐯𝐢𝐬𝐢 so definitely aji to hek nohoy. I'll take 10 minutes more, introduce the topic and finish at least the national emergency. Okay. So I hope it is visible. Emergency provisions কৰ পৰা লোৱা হৈছে হেতু আপোনালোকে চাব. Okay. Emergency provisions Germany constitution পৰা লোৱা হৈছিলে. হেতু এবাৰ চাব আপোনালোকে নেক্সট কথাটো হৈছে কোনটো পাৰ্টত আছে these are facts okay ইয়াতে একো তনেকে বুজাবলে এক্সট্ৰা নাই so I'll quickly like move to the next part 18 হয় 352 to 360 direct articles these are related to emergency provisions now the most important thing is এই কেটা keywords আপোনালোকে মনত ৰাখিব why do we have emergency provisions in the constitution examot just these keywords দিব to safeguard the sovereignty unity integrity ইয়াতে কোবাত লিখি দিব secularism protect কৰিবলে তেতিয়া আপোনালোকে হে পইণ্ট টো নাদিব the thing is ki they'll give you 2-3 more technical terms they'll add up a few more technical terms but you'll have to stick to these few the first one being the to safeguard the sovereignty mane india juntu independence ase okay to safeguard that ami sam how it is done we'll look into it unity integrity all these are synonymous sovereignty unity integrity security egita osarose g word dekhe apnaloke tik koribo aru there's a 100% it is a 100% sure thing that only these terms will come yata extra kori pla tehti yar synonym ketiyao nidiye whatever is written in the constitution as it is jeneke ami pohislu fundamental rights of case hotu they are not absolute but only reasonable restrictions can be put grounds keta ki asile public morality aru kise teneke integrity hegita word junita asile you have to check those words only okay in this scenario the words are safeguard the sovereignty unity integrity security tarpisa democratic political system and the constitution itself yate apnalokor add kori dibo health but health bostu yat nasile okay he bostu asile amar in case of fundamental rights I'll go back to the slide if you remember so that quick revision eta hoy jao in a second in case of fundamental rights we had done that je কাবাৰ যদি মনত আছে ডেফিনেটলি কমেন্টছত লিখি দিব পাৰে চ্যাটৰ কমেন্টছত লিখিব পাৰে but যদি কাবাৰ মনত পৰা নাই then you can quickly revise that these are important topics সেই কাৰণে আপোনালোকে এই যোনকিটা থাকে extra keywords কিটা কিটাও পাহৰি নাযাব public order morality health and other provisions okay whenever these will be violated তেতিয়া fundamental rights of সদায় restriction put কৰি দিব পাৰে কোনে government okay বা state then there were other sovereignty integrity of India security of state public order morality dekhise na e black sob amar same thakibo but jeta public order morality contempt of court e black case emergency nai so he kita hoda apnalok confusion koribole they'll add up the topics they are the same words sovereignty integrity unity security e black karone emergency hobo pare kintu public order morality contempt of court ot na thake so ene dhoroner kisuman I mean words but terms junkhini confusingly ekeloge ase constitution khonot they will try to always mess up with those only okay so emergency case of emergency ki kore the rationale behind emergency is that is only related to the sovereignty unity integrity and democracy of the democracy of the country aru constitution jete ekhini threaten hobo ba amar political system to jodi threaten hoy তেতিয়া emergency dia hoy as the word says emergency it is something important and at that point of time the entire feature becomes unitary etu monot rakhibo okay hetu ami bujim keneke unitary hoy which of the articles are important 352 yat +4 eta koribole hol 352 to 360 ase 352 national emergency +4 356 president's rule ba state emergency ba constitutional emergency eketa bostu hoy +4 360 financial emergency +4 kori kole apnaloke total hegera pai jabo this tinta article junkita emergency related hoy but remember that 350 baki kita article they are related to emergency kintu amar juntu tinta type of emergency they are given by these three articles only 354 plus 4 356 plus 4 360. Okay, these are the three types of emergency. We have national emergency, we have state emergency, and we have financial emergency. All three of these we will study alag alag se beleg beleg we will read it out. Okay, 362 356 on junto ase state emergency by president's rule. Remember one thing, that for this, in case of 356, they do not use the word emergency. Okay, যেতিয়া আমি প্ৰেসিডেন্টস রুল বুলি কওঁ, স্টেট এমার্জেন্সি আর কনস্টিটিউশনাল এমার্জেন্সি তো এটা কলোকিয়েল টার্ম হয়, এটো আমার কনস্টিটিউশনত তেনেকে লিখা নাই. In constitution only national emergency and financial emergency is written, but the word state emergency and constitutional emergency, they are not mentioned in the constitution. In the constitution it is written as president's rule বা failure of constitutional machinery, এটো তেনেকে লিখা থাকে. Please remember this. এটো আপোনালোকৰ সদায় এটা conceptual glitch হয়. Statement like DDBO, all these kinds of emergencies are mentioned in the constitution, but the answer is no. The state emergency or constitutional emergency is not used as such 356 article. 352 however national emergency or 360 financial emergency use kora hoy. The most powerful, I would say, or the most unitary but strongest junto amar ahe etu hoise national emergency. ভাগ্যক্রমে আমি আজিলৈকে জীয়াই থকা অৱস্থাত এটলিষ্ট তেনেকে দেখা নাই. ওকে, ন্যাশনাল এমাৰ্জেঞ্চি বা যোনটো মানে এটলিষ্ট মই জীয়াই থকা কৈছো, বাকি কোনোবা হয়তো দেখিব পাৰে. বাট ন্যাশনাল এমাৰ্জেঞ্চি আণ্ডাৰ আৰ্টিকল 352, it is the highest amount of threat. India's security to the highest amount of kiba threat হৈ যায়, then only national emergency is declared. Now remember, from here onwards national emergency আমি এই 5টা মান স্লাইড কৰো at least, আৰু সেই 5টা মান স্লাইডত কেবাটাও এনেকুৱা statement and কেবাটাও এনেকুৱা facts থাকিব which can be twisted statementত, and আপোনালোকৰ যদি সেই presence of mind to our concept খিনি যদি ঠিক নাথাকে, then the answer will go wrong. Please remember, again I'll repeat, there are several concepts here, several facts here which you have to hold. Jodi keneba ke apnalokor ettao tate word to khelimeli hoy jay aru he meaning to ba concept to jodi apnalokor khelimeli hoy jay, the entire answer will change, and as a result the answer will go wrong. Specifically in MCQ, this chapter is equally important from mains point of view also, but MCQ it's very easy to twist and turn the words jeneke ei bostu to, for example je emergency a word to ase boli koribo but actually nai, and given the pattern change nabhabibo je APSC question paper tan nokoribo, so it will play around with words. Although last year it had not played with words, last year just statement based korise, kintu twisting of statements was not there, unlike UPSC jontu hoy thake usually, but last year he bostu to howa nasile. So this time hoyto tati duta tinta question loi pla experiment koribo pare. Okay, so make sure that these were our few chapters jeneke federal system, emergency, fundamental rights, yet eta word change korile the entire meaning will change. For example, ami yato jodi in democratic political system, safeguard unity, sovereignty, yar logot jodi public health and morality bhorai diu, sobe bhaibo etu to asile constitution, but actually emergency provisions ot nohoy, fundamental rights er case ot hoy. Okay, anyway, so please make sure that you have this clarity. Hetu moi just a disclaimer diloso. Moving ahead, in national emergency, okay, article number 352, when is it declared? Hetu apnaloke as it is duta word ase, please remember, only in case of war, external aggression or armed rebellion. Tinta word ase, I mean, yes. So threatened, that means jodi amar security kiba ta threaten ahi jay, okay, danger jodi ahe security of India, jodi amar not just the entire part, jodi entire country jodi eta part, for example Arunachal Pradeshot China attack korile, so that in that scenario maybe, okay, like I said, maybe there might be a situation where the national emergency may be declared. Okay, what are the three terms? Egita ekdom as it is mon rakhibo: war, external aggression. It a war or external aggression beleg beleg kyo ase, because war is when actually ceasefire will start, dono dui falor pa gola barud ba hei start ho jay, but external aggression is je etia like a war like situation hua nai, but they are aggressive mane jeneke hoyto kunbata point attack kori pelai they will try to, jeneke ama LOC ba China jun doklam case hoisile. Okay, these are considered external aggression, so they will not exactly start the war but close to it. Okay, there will be a threat. Armed rebellion, again jodi ami jodi cross firing start hoy jay, jeneke recently amar POK ba tat hoye thake. Okay, so in those area, in those terms, tetia amar national emergency to start হৈ যাব পাৰে okay national emergency start হৈ যাব পাৰে কিয় হয় কিয় নহয় that you will understand once you মানে সব টাইমতে to war বা হেবিলাক situation হৈ থাকে কিয় হোৱা নাছিলে that you will understand once you get the entire gist of it okay তেতিয়া আপোনালোকে বুজি পাব anyway this was the first point so to remember please remember article 352 war external aggression armed rebellion please remember ইয়াতে আৰু এটা term আছে ইয়াতে নাই এড কৰা নেকি মই ক'ত গ'ল where is this one internal disturbance okay agote internal disturbance asile a word to jodu armed rebellion asile this was termed as internal disturbance so this was not very clear internal disturbance mane যদি আজি কমিউনাল কিবা রাইট হৈ যায় তেতিয়াও কিবা এটা দিবনে কমিউনাল কিবা যদি কাজিয়া হৈ যায় তেতিয়াও কিবা ন্যাশনাল এমার্জেন্সি দিবনে নো এটা নোৱাৰে তেনেকে দিব তাত চাব লাগিব that it has to be an armed rebellion armed মানে গোলাবাৰী কৰি পেলাই it has to be basically যদি বন্ধু সন্দুক লৈ পেলাই যদি বহুত বেছি এক্সট্রিম লেভেলত কিবা যদি হয় then only the national emergency will be declared not just merely some internal disturbance because a same reason to লৈ পেলাই ইন্দিৰা গান্ধীয়ে internal disturbance হৈছে বুলি কৈ পেলাই like I'll not go into the kahini now that is in another chapter so he time what it misinterpret কৰি পেলাই তেতিয়া national emergency দিয়া হৈছিলে যত নেকি that was not really a situation where national emergency could be exploited but could be implemented okay so internal 44th amendment okay remember these keywords 44th amendment armed rebellion বুলি কোৱা হৈছে internal disturbance বুলি কোৱা কোনো আমাৰ এতিয়া বৰ্তমান reason নাই remember please tate didibo these are the following reasons for declaring or these can be the president can declare a national emergency in the following situations that war didibo external aggression didibo internal disturbance tate internal disturbance nai not rakhibo why because remember juntu topic juntu point apna enekwa lage jen olopman besi wide ba vague hoy less specific hoy war boli কৈ dia loge loge specific external aggression boli কৈ dia loge loge specific that foreign hoy armed rebellion boli কৈ dia loge loge it is specific now the rebellion has to be armed internal disturbance can be anything right কাইলে কে যদি আহি পেলাই আমাৰ এতিয়া ধৰি লওক এইবিলাক যে হয় these comedy যে আমাৰ stand up comedians থাকে stand up comedians যেটা কিবা এটা কমেন্ট দি দিয়ে দেন তেহেতৰ against বহুত কাৰবাই হয় then the entire state gets agitated তো হেবিলাক আমি internal disturbance বুলি ক'ব পাৰিম and at the same time যদি কাইলে কে communal riots যেনে গুজৰাটত হৈছিলে communal riots হোৱাৰ লগে লগে যেতিয়া বহুতখিনি মানুহ মৰি যায় that will again be a disturbance কিন্তু এই যোনটো আমাৰ just because stand up comedians said something about the government হেতু কাৰণে national emergency দিব নোৱাৰি but for the other one you can okay যত নেকি মানুহ মৰি গৈছে suppose and there is a huge bloodshed that might be a national emergency okay so that is the difference internal disturbance becomes a very vague and a very बोल सकते हैं कि এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ wider এটা meaning থকা এটা যত interpret কৰিবলৈ difficult হৈ গল হয় হেতু কাৰণে internal disturbance word to remove কৰি পেলাই they only substituted with the word armed rebellion okay then president can also declare etu eta important statement hoy jodi if the president thinks je danger to ba he war to external aggression to huar agotu okay the president can declare the emergency enekwa jodi hobo pare by if he is satisfied these are the words if he is satisfied that the danger is evident je tenekwa kiba hobo pare then also the national emergency can be implemented now you'll ask me etu question apnalokor mathat ahiye thakibo lage je ekhini korar pisot national emergency dilenu ki hoy jabo what will be the difference or how will it help the country in restoring its security again hold to this question you'll be able to answer this towards the end of this entire jeta ami emergency kal lage he korim tetia you'll be able to understand the national emergency how will it help okay how will it help ekhini steps lole how will it help anyway so I'll take for 2 minutes extra just a slide kon ekolo then we'll move on to the next I mean tomorrow so we have done 3 important points here je ketia national emergency declare koribo pare security of India jodi threaten hoy not just the entire country but even if it is a part egita keyword monot rakhibo tate didibo that only when the security of entire country is threatened tetia apnaloke etu challenge koribo paribo the statement is wrong because even if a part of it is threatened Arunachal jodi eta borderline jodi threatened hoy then also national emergency can be threatened can be implemented and on the basis of what war external aggression armed rebellion please remember okay these are the 3 things second point to hoise agote internal disturbance asile word to, but now this has been removed and replaced by armed rebellion. Third thing to হৈছে that the emergency can also be declared before the actual occurrence. যদি war আৰু aggressionৰ বোলে বা armed rebellionৰ chances were 100%, then the president can declare a national emergency to avoid it also. So this is a special case of prevention is better than cure. Okay, it may be applicable to a part of it or the entire country. Eto ami koriluwe. Kuntu amendmentot add hoisile word to armed rebellion? It was in 44th amendment, 1978. Okay, this is one of the most important points which shows that India's democracy is strong. Okay, where প্ৰেচিডেণ্টে নিজে নিজে প্ৰেচিডেণ্টে নিজে নিজে এটা emergency declare কৰিব নোৱাৰে. Please remember, the president cannot do it on its own, on his own discretion. Okay, his or her own discretion of নোৱাৰে. When will the president, what is the procedure? When will the president declare the emergency? Only after, and remember, this is the keyword, very very important, written recommendation লাগিবই. It cannot be verbal. Indira Gandhi time on jete emergency to dia hoisile, it was a verbal recommendation, and that is why the controversy had happened. Again, a story which is not important from prelims point of view, but means jete apnaloke emergency pohibo, apnaloke gutekhini finally concept to clear koribole definitely ebar holo sabo. Okay, so yes, PDF to pabo. Yeah, what was I saying? The president can proclaim, hitu thike ase, only the president. And remember, yate ibla terms are important. The prime minister can declare a national emergency. Now you will think that the head of the state is prime minister, so definitely prime minister hobo. But hodai monot rakhibo, even if the prime minister is the head of the government, any declaration, any sign, any law can be only passed while under the sign and seal of the president only. সেইকাৰণে যিয়ে এপইণ্টমেণ্ট নহওক কিয়, যিয়ে আমাৰ ডিক্লাৰেশ্যন নহওক কিয়, সব প্ৰেচিডেণ্টৰ আণ্ডাৰতে হ'ব. So he or she might be the nominal head. President might be the nominal head, but declaration or eblagot final say, it is in the hands of the president. But jihetu enekwa jodi hol hoy president nijor mon morjit sob reject korile hoy, sob delete korile hoy, teneke president teo eta autocratic position lo lole hoy, right? In order to avoid that, president's decisions will always be under the or with the recommendation of the PM and the CM. So it's a very interrelated thing. That is why collective responsibility bili koy juntu ami parliament e pohim. Okay, so these are very important concepts. Maje maje jeti ahi thakibo, please try to catch it. Prelims er karneo directly question nahe, but the concepts will be important to solve it. So the president can proclaim the national emergency only after jodi eta written recommendation nidie. Until unless there's a written recommendation, the president cannot proclaim a national emergency. Etia he written recommendation to kune dibo, it's from the cabinet. Okay, the cabinet, basically the ministers, or he cabinet discussion kar logot koribo, definitely Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So ultimately the power lies in the hands of the parliament, and declaration president will be doing it. And that too tate discretionary ase, that the president can declare the emergency even before. Jodi nayo ha, then also the president can declare. But again, there should be a written recommendation. This is a very important keyword. Please remember, direct question ahibo. This means that the emergency can be declared only on the concurrence of the cabinet, not merely on the advice of the prime minister. This is also important. Yate jeta written recommendation di se, that from the cabinet, not from the prime minister. So just that PMA kole buliye he recommendation to ahise buliye juntu Indira Gandhi case ot hol, tetia emergency jate di diok tenekwa nohoy. So this is also to reduce the powers of the PM. Okay, so very very important. President proclaim koribo paribo, monot rakhibo keneke, by receiving a written recommendation, but from whom? From the cabinet, not from the PM alone. Okay, and this cabinet of course will advise the PM, then PM can place it, of course, give the recommendation to what cabinet ro pahibo lagibo. Okay, so this was all for today. From here on we'll do it tomorrow. Kintu jodi kiba doubt ase, I'll keep the forum open for the next 2-3 minutes.